look at it. If you have any questions at all, Landair is the management company that's supporting this, so they'll be the ones to reach out to with any kind of questions on delivery times or dates and such. Or if, if the driver's late or what have you. But the driver will arrive. Folks, a lot of you folks saw out there's going to be a seal. That's just standard practice. Pop the seal, check the seal number against the BL. And we don't have a lot of the type of stuff that someone's going to want to take off and do anything with, but it's just always safe to be secure. So when you go to the drill there's paperwork can be signed off by the driver, just like anyone else who does receiving today. You kind of know what that drill is. There's a delivery receipt or a bill of lading or something. You sign off. The most important thing is if you got any challenges, shout out to Landair. They're the contact on this. If the driver's there and you got any initial concerns for them, just ask them or whatever. The drivers will be very supportive. ITS, many of you guys have ITS delivered to you today. They're a great company and they do an awesome job. So I'm glad Landair was able to bring them right into the fold. We started, this is a controlled launch on phase 1 of this. We only did like 30 POs. We figured if it was going to melt down last week when we were here in Ontario, we didn't want hundreds of purchase orders involved. So it's a small launch. That's why it's like, there's like one box for, there's not enough boxes for every person here. There's a small little pallet here on this one for you. Main store's got more, of course, but it's just a small amount. Everyone was in Ontario last week, and I say everyone, the operations team from MCX headquarters, the Landair team, the MCX IT team, the NFI is the 3PL, their IT folks. Everyone was there in brainstorming sessions, and they were all checking the computers and make sure everything in the background was doing all it's supposed to. Our finance team at headquarters, Piper Brenner, the treasurer, and those folks are up there are monitoring all this from their side as everyone scans something there, just to make sure that everything touches and plays nice together. So all of that has occurred. This week has been deliveries to all the stores. We've hit the other stores earlier this week. So we've kind of, there were very few wrinkles, by the way. Everything seemed to go out okay. For those of you who received, there's one thing that we did notice. We were surprised, obviously, at the main first store, but there's a little delay on receiving sometimes when you scan it in and you go back and look at the system. It takes 10 minutes or whatever, sometimes 5 minutes. And we found out, we were surprised. It's like, whoa, that didn't go into your system. What happened? And then the receiving person said, well, that always happens. It's just our system. It takes 5 minutes. It's like, well, okay, let's in 5 minutes or whatever it was there. So those of you that do this for a living know better than we. That hasn't changed. That process is still there. So what we'll do is, Yolanda, there she is. Yolanda's going to go ahead and walk you through the process of this phase 1. We did hear a couple of questions about what's phase 1. Phase 1 is one more than phase 0. Help you there.
Write that down, everybody.
Very important. Phase 0 was like a cross dock, right? It's like you have to scan and receive everything. Phase 1, it's a transfer basis, and Yolanda will go into that. And we're rolling out phase 1. This is starting small. It will start converting from a phase 0 to a phase 1, from a crosstalk to a transfer. So you'll see more and more of this, and it will be going to individual stores. Today we're hitting, I think, 3 stores on the test. So anyway, Yolanda, if you want to.
Okay, remember I was telling you earlier there's some key visual indicators for you. The first one being the green shrink wrap. Okay, the second being the placard. It's under the shrink wrap. I don't know if you can see it, but is this your site number? You need to check to make sure that it's delivered to your site. See it? Okay, there are also going to be green labels on the boxes. Okay, is this your site number? Okay, you verified that it was. Okay.
Richard, is it the site number?
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is. Okay. Now, you're going to do a visual scan of the pallet. Do you see something that's maybe smushed or, just doesn't look quite right to you? This one's smushed.
This box and that box.
Okay, the top box is smashed. So does that stop our process from receiving the transfer in? No. So what you're going to do is you're going to go into your RF unit and go into transfers under number 2.
transfer out.
And you're gonna transfer in. Number two
Number
is-
3.
No. Did you go into number 2? Okay, now you see number 5. What does number 5 say? Transfer
DC
in?
transfer in.
Right.
So 5.
So this merchandise is coming from the DC.
So we're going to transfer 5. DC transfer.
Okay, it's number 5. After 2, it's 5.
Okay.
You're gonna scan. I don't know if it'll scan through here. This is your transfer number.
So that'll be this big barcode.
What does it say?
Well, it gives you the RDC transfer, MCX West Coast, 10113 from 7001 to 10113.
Okay, does it give you a quantity?
36.
Okay, that quantity cannot be changed here. Okay, you have to accept it. Now down at the bottom, it gives you a few choices. What does it say?
Confirm yes or no.
Okay, if you did not confirm it, what do you think that would mean?
That you didn't accept
you
it.
didn't accept
That's
it. You're not
correct.
accepting the-
So what should your next step be?
Confirm.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay? And you're done.
RDC.
So no matter what, it's gonna be 36.
No. Just this one transfer.
Okay, question.
Yes,
Before
yeah.
we said confirm, can we check, do we have
You're
to
not
check?
supposed to check anything.
You gotta do
except
just a
the
visual.
Just a visual.
Or the
Do the visual.
boxes that is,
Okay.
Because remember, you cannot make any changes to the transfer. You'll deal with any discrepancies after the fact.
So now RDC transfer.
Right. Now you're ready to rock and roll with another one. Okay. But before you do that, do you remember this smush box?
Smush
Okay.
box.
You need to pull this off and set it to the side in a quarantine area. This you're going to follow your normal process for OS and D.
I mean, I think it's fine. It's just a. I think it's just
Right.
Just take a visual look. If you see any kind of a crunch box, I mean, if it's China, your best China is probably a problem.
Right.
If it's soft lines, it
It's
probably
clothing.
isn't. But just pop it open, take a look at it. If it's good, you just process it through. If it is not good, if it's damaged and there's an overshort damage form that's filled out.
Oh,
Soft lines must be
Okay.
rugged.
So I have a question.
So I think we're pretty comfortable with that box. So.
Yes. If after we've already accepted it, if after we open it and let's say this box doesn't have a green placard on it because it's not visual to the outside of the pallet, that's when we would address that situation,
No.
right?
You may not see the green placard or the green label on every box when you walk around the pallet, but once you break it down, you will see, because that's how they
Okay.
do a systemic put the pallet at the DC. That barcode is your transfer number on the pallet, but it's also the same number that they actually build in their computer. They actually assign that carton to that pallet.
So my question is, there's no chance of another color being on this pallet.
No.
Okay.
Those
It's
should be all
100%
set.
going to be green.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
And on the label, it's going to tell you who it's from, who it's to. The order number is for DC. The line of business, it's going to give you the line of business description. This particular one is military logo.
If by some chance you get any other color, I need to know right away.
Okay. Well, that was my
Okay.
question because
Yeah, just by some chance.
yeah.
Because they only have green loaded in their
So something else comes in, call me. I don't care what time of day or night it is.
Okay. Yeah.
All right.
No, for sure. That's why I
Okay,
asked.
right, yes ma'am.
If it's a faded green, it's
I don't
probably
care.
okay, but they only have green in stock for us, that's what we have.
So they figured that one out. I'd like to see how they did it.
Alright, so you visually verified that this is okay. Alright, so basically what you're going to do is you're going to read the label and it's going to go to that department. Okay, but before we move on to that part, I'd like for you to do something else. I'd like for you to go ahead and scan that again.
Yeah.
Hopefully. I was gonna say he's not gonna let you.
Okay, audio and visual. You can only receive the transfer number one time.
Already received.
So, if you get interrupted and you forget where you're at and you
Just
come back, it's going to tell you. Okay, if you're logged in as 100001, it's not going to let you go because this transfer number is not related to that site number. Okay, it's built to this site number. Okay, so
After that.
One note too.
Down note? The down
if
arrow.
you find a damaged box, or like this one here, obviously the product's good, but the box is damaged. If you look inside and you see that the physical product damage, those of you that know the receiving process already know there's no change. You should annotate it on that delivery receipt or bill of lading, whatever that DR, delivery receipt or document is. And what that does is it links that audit trail together, so now we can go back to the driver and say, did you realize you delivered a box that's damaged? So we can help support a possible claim later. Now what the drivers should do is work out the relationship with the origin or the pickup point, in this case Ontario, where the driver also does a visual of that pallet, and they annotate on their nodes whether they saw it come in damaged, so they can kind of like pass the buck over to the RDC. And that relationship is between the driver and the regional DC. But your position would be, I see damage, I opened it up, that really is damaged. Annotate the DR that you got one damaged box. For whoever does your damage claim, they'll have the documentation, because we're going to ask you for that. Show us the annotated bill of lading. So we'll ask you for that. So just, you want to keep that in mind.
So he's not leaving here until we do that.
You want to look at it first.
Okay.
You don't even need to scan it in first. The first thing you
Just
do
do
is
your
walk
visuals.
around. Everything looks good. You sign off clean, and he goes.
Okay, got it.
If it looks damaged, you say, hold on a minute. Let me peek in the box. Okay, you're okay. Or it's damaged. Let me annotate this. I signed, you signed. Now you can go.
Both copies, yeah.
Okay, so the only label that we're concerned with on these boxes, as you can see there's all kinds of different labels, is the green label. Okay, you're gonna see packing slips in the past. We don't use packing slips anymore, okay? So just disregard those. So from the time it comes off the truck, what are you doing?
Green shrink wrap.
Right, that's the first thing you're gonna look for.
We see green.
The second thing is going to be what?
Site number.
Site number. Okay, if it's not your site number, what do you do with it?
He puts it back on the truck.
Do not put it back on the truck. Do not put it back on the truck.
Wow.
You're going to accept it and set it off to the side, and the delivery failure report that Land Air has you complete, you're going to complete that, and they'll give you final disposition, who's coming to pick it up and when. Okay, do not put it back on the truck.
How long will it take them to come back and pick it up and get it to the right location?
That's a Land Air question. How long would it take?
Our goal is 24 to 48 hours. We'll get someone routed in here to get it, because we know you have limited space. So we will work expeditiously to be a power under it. And it may even be the same driver that was just here, we can work it out. But we can't do it without giving him the direction to do it. We have to get it routed through the system first.
Okay, so nothing goes back onto the truck at this point.
So wrong side, just sign for it, set it to the side.
And complete that report.
Take the report there.
Make sure you're on site, Sherry Morris, Gary Brown, and are they doing the 659 and MCX and the DC? And you have
Whoever
that.
does that
email.
process today,
Yes.
it doesn't change. It's
We'll
the same
continue.
process.
You heard him say 24/7.
Okay.
Right.
So,
After I have scanned everything very good, like
you're ready, yep, you're ready to keep going. Now, do you have access to Cognos back here?
yes.
Okay, would you like to pull this up in Cognos to see if this transfer has fallen off? And then
Yes.
I would like to print the transfer. Yeah, print the transfer because I want you to open a couple of boxes. Just to verify that what we say is in there is in there.
Okay.
Okay? Do most of you work in Cognos? Do you know how to pull the transfers, outstanding transfers, look at them?
Huh? Yes. Oh. Yes. Talk to the camera. Talk to the camera slowly. I'm gonna go to Cognos here. Cognos. It's a little slow today.
So,
Then from here I go to my home. Yes.
so you need to have someone down here that has an ID card that can get into the computer all the time.
Or you gotta get them you gotta get somebody else.
So I go to retail reports. and then from there,
Transfers.
go to transfer.